For our court reporter, please.
Sure. My name is Mary Hull. It's Maryhull.
Okay. And where do you currently work?
I currently work at the Attorney General's office.
And where did you work when you became involved in this case back in the summer of 2016?
I work for the Department of Financial Services in the Office of Fiscal Integrity.
And what did you do there?
I was a financial investigator.
What were your duties as a financial investigator there?
We investigated all fraud, waste, and abuse of all state funds.
Can you tell me a little bit about your educational background to hold your position?
Sure. I hold a Bachelor of Science degree in finance from Florida State University. I'm also a certified fraud examiner in good standing with the Association of Certified Fraud Examiners.
Okay, and at DFS, were you a financial investigator of economic crime specifically?
Yes,
Do you have experience in analyzing financial data?
I do.
Can you tell us about that?
Yes, I have 20 years of financial analysis and auditing experience for both in a state level and for the United States Attorney's Office.
Okay, and what about white-collar criminal investigations?
Yes, I've had 10 years of investigating criminal white-collar crime investigations to include money laundering, mortgage fraud, contract fraud, identity theft, and embezzlement.
Do you have a specific area of expertise?
Yes, my specific area is financial and
Is it forensic accounting?
forensic accounting.
And what is forensic accounting?
It is a very detailed analysis of financial records and data to be used in a court of law.
Have you ever testified in court about your analysis of financial records?
Yes.
Okay, and about how many times?
This would be my 20th time.
Okay, and those are all my questions I have as to her expertise in that field, Judge.
Defense wish to voir dire the witness.
No, Your Honor.
Is there any challenge to her ability to provide an opinion in forensic accounting?
No, Your Honor.
Members of the jury, the witness will be permitted to provide you with an opinion in the field of forensic accounting.
All right, so you became involved in this case back in 2016. How did you become involved in this case?
It was a criminal unit, and I did all the financial analysis for it. I was asked to do an agency assist case. It wasn't my normal contract fraud or state fund fraud, but I had the skill set that was needed.
And what were you asked to do in regards to this case?
To review mostly the bank records, but I did review some other records.
Okay, I'm going to ask you about all the different things you reviewed. Did you review the bank accounts of Harvey Adelson, Donna Adelson, Wendy Adelson, and Charlie Adelson?
Yes.
Okay, and does that include not only bank accounts but investment accounts of theirs as well?
Yes.
Speaking specifically to Charlie Adelson, did you review his Regions bank, his primary bank savings and checking account with Regions from the years 2013 to 2016?
Yes.
And did you also review States 104, what's been marked as States 104, which is the records from his Capital One and Amex cards from 2014 to 2016?
Yes.
And what's been marked and shown to you before court today as 104A, is that a printout of one of the pages of those records?
Yes.
All right, I want to ask you about a few other folks you reviewed records for. Did you review bank account records of Luis Rivera?
Yes.
And was that one Chase bank account?
Yes.
Okay, and that's been marked as and shown to defense and the witness as States 97. Were those through for the years 2014 and 2015?
Yes.
All right, for Sigfredo Garcia, did you review two different accounts in this case, savings and checking, that were from Bank of America?
Yes.
And were those for the years 2015 and 2016?
Yes, that's correct.
So that bank account was not established until the year after Dan Markel was killed?
Correct.
Did he have a bank account, Sigfredo Garcia? We're talking about the year that Dan Markel was killed?
An active account was not located for him.
Did you also review some employment records for these gentlemen from Coastal Masonry from the years 2009 to 2014?
Yes.
Okay, and that's States Exhibit 69. For Catherine McBanwell, looking at States 99 and 100, did you review bank records from Bank of America that would include her savings account and her checking account?
Yes.
And were those for the years 2013 to 2017?
Yes.
Okay, and did she also have another bank account as well?
Yes.
Was that with JP Morgan Chase?
It was.
Okay. That's been marked as States 101 and 102. Are those two different numbers because there's also a savings and a checking account for those?
That's correct.
And were those also from 2013 to 2017?
Yes.
Did you also review a credit card of hers, a Synchrony credit card?
Yes.
In addition to her bank records, did you review Catherine McBanwell's income tax filings for 2013 to 2015?
Yes.
Was that a yes?
Yes.
Okay. And did you also receive several records of different businesses?
Yes.
I want to ask you specifically about States Exhibit 60. Did you review Adelson an Adelson Institute subpoena response from a subpoena that was sent to them regarding Catherine McBanwell's employment?
I did.
And did that subpoena response, was that from September 2014 to May 2016?
Yes.
Did you also review States Exhibit? Just a second. '70, which was records from Dr. Rudner's, he's a plastic surgeon, his office.
Yes.
Was that for a breast augmentation for Catherine McBanwell?
It was.
Did you also review records from Jerome Obed's office, Broward Dermatology, regarding Catherine McBanwell employment from July 2015 to March 2016?
Yes.
Did you also review States Exhibit 77, which were copies of checks from Adelson Institute to Catherine McBanwell?
I did.
Did you also review several DHS-MV records as well?
Yes.
All right, let's go through those. Did you review State 68, which was a Lexus titled to Catherine McBanwell?
Yes.
And what about what's been marked as 72, 73, 74, and 75 DHS-MV records for multiple different vehicles for Sigfredo Garcia and Luis Rivera?
Yes.
All right, and did all of those records from all of those various companies, they came with certifications that certified they were legitimate records from those businesses. Is that what those are?
Yes, they did.
All right, at this time, I would enter all of those records into evidence. So for, will do. That's going to be States Exhibit 68 through 77.
Any objection from the defense?
No objection, Your Honor.
States 68 through 77 are admitted at this time.
Okay. Those are documents, and for discs, we have States 97 through 104, and then the printout will be 104A from the Amex records.
Any objection as to those records?
No objection, Your Honor.
They are admitted at this time.
All right, so all of those records, especially the bank records, are those pretty voluminous,
Yes.
hundreds and or even thousands of pages at times.
Oh, yes.
In order to illustrate to the jury your findings in this case, are you going to rely on a summary of the bank records and all of the different records that you just told us about? In addition to looking at those records, did you also look at the certain messages from the iCloud of Charlie Adelson in your preparation or your work for this case?
I did.
Okay, and are some of those messages incorporated into the summary?
Yes.
And is your summary an accurate reflection of those records that you just told us about?
It is.
At this time, I would move State's Exhibit 76 into evidence, which was the summary of the financial records.
Any objection to state 76?
No objection.
Those will be admitted at this time.
All right, in State 76, I just want to be clear. We have a paper copy, right? That's
Yeah.
going to be in evidence,
I did.
but we'll look at it today and on a PowerPoint view for the jury.
Okay.
Okay. Permission to publish via PowerPoint, Judge?
You may.
All right, so I'm going to ask you about the different records that you looked at, and you'll tell us what we have here on the screen. And all of the records that you told us about, though, are in evidence. If the jury wants to see any more, that they'll be back in the deliberation room with them.
Okay.
So looking at here at the first slide of your summary, what, if any, vehicles did Luis Rivera acquire after the murder of Dan Markel on July 18th, 2014, per his DHS-MV records?
He purchased on July 28, 2014, a 2003 Suzuki motorcycle.
Okay, and were there any others?
Yes, he also purchased on July 31st, 2014, a 1996 Toyota Camry.
Okay, and in reviewing the records, was there a picture of the yellow motorcycle among his social media information?
It was.
Okay, and I don't think we were able to find an image of the green Toyota, but is that kind of a silhouette of what a green Toyota of that make and year looks like?
Yes, it was a sedan.
All right. All right, so when you analyze Luis Rivera bank accounts, what did you learn about his banking patterns or banking habits?
Luis Rivera had a very unique banking pattern. All his payroll checks were direct deposited, but as soon as they hit his account, he'd pull them all out in cash, virtually all of it. But he had auto payments set up, so every time an auto payment would come through, it would bounce, and he would end up with a bank overdraft charge. So we had a lot of overdraft charges.
And where were his paychecks coming from?
Coastal Masonry.
Okay, so he had a steady job at Coastal Masonry throughout the records that you looked at.
He did.
And when his paychecks, you said they were direct deposited into his account?
Yes,
Were those for about $500 to $600 a week?
it was.
Okay. And he would pretty much immediately withdraw the money, you say?
Yes, he operated mostly in cash.
And then would he begin to overdraft after that until his next paycheck?
Yes.
All right. Did his banking pattern change after the murder of Dan Markel?
It did.
All right. How did it change?
He no longer pulled out large amounts of cash and leaving his paychecks in there. The auto payments no longer caused an overdraft payment.
Was the last large cash withdrawal before the murder of Dan Markel just a couple of days before his murder?
Yes.
When did his normal banking patterns resume again after the murder of Dan Markel?
About 4 months later.
All right, what do we see here?
This is a graph that shows his banking pattern of the overdrafts. So, and it's split into three-month segments. So, all the red bars will show where he had an overdraft charge, and then you see that long pattern between the two yellow bars, and then a little after that shows there was no overdraft charges. But by November 11th, of 2014, his pattern picked back up.
So in the 3 months before the murder, from April to July, he had a pretty low balance in his bank account, about $65.30, and about 21 different overdraft penalties.
Yes.
Looking from the first yellow line from the date of the murder to 3 months after the murder, so mid to end July of October, did he have any overdrafts during that time?
No.
And for him, did he have a relatively high balance in his bank account of $249.94?
For him, it was, yes.
Right. In the 3 to 6 months after the murder, did he then start to pick up on the overdrafts again?
Yes, he did.
Okay. And this time, the average balance is a little less than it was in the 3 months preceding it.
A little bit, yes.
Now, during the time when he's not withdrawing money from his bank account or having overdraft fees, could that be indicative of him having another source of cash that's separate from coastal masonry, which would be the money coming in from his job?
Yes, that indicated to me that he had additional source of cash and he was not having to rely on removing cash from the bank to operate. He liked to operate in cash.
All right. You said that you looked at the DHS-MV records of Sigfredo Garcia. What, if any, vehicles did Sigfredo Garcia acquire after the murder of Dan Markel?
On July 26, 2014, he purchased a 1997 Honda Racer, black and yellow. He also purchased on August 22, 2014, a 1984 Chevy Monte Carlo in blue. In October of 2014, he also purchased a 2000 Nissan Maxima gold sedan.
And you mentioned that you analyzed Sigfredo Garcia's bank accounts. What kind of bank records did he have?
He had a checking and a savings account.
And were those for the time period of June 2015 to July of 2016?
It was.
And you said before you didn't have any bank records to review of his from the time of the murder because he didn't have any active accounts at that time?
None that we could find.
Okay, were subpoenas sent to banks that
Yes.
came back indicating closed accounts with no records?
They just came back with no response.
Okay. All right, you mentioned you received coastal masonry records. Did you also have coastal masonry records for not only Luis Rivera, who had steady paychecks from there, but also for Sigfredo Garcia?
Yes, there was some records from there, but he worked very sporadically.
Okay, so just a couple of months here, 1 year, a couple of months there, and another year? No
Yes.
steady paychecks?
No steady paychecks.
At some point during his bank records, did he, or at some point during the years 2013 to 2016, did he begin receiving steady paychecks?
Yes, he did.
Was that in September of 2015?
That sounds right, yes.
And did that last up until he was arrested in May of 2016?
It was.
Where were those paychecks from?
I'd have to refer to my notes.
Okay.
He was employed at Rapid Capital Funding.
Rapid Capital Funding?
Yes.
All right. Moving on to Catherine Mabanwa. Did she already own a car at the time of Dan Markel's murder?
She did.
When you looked at the iCloud for Charlie Adelson, did you find messages that indicated that Charlie Adelson provided her with some financial assistance for that vehicle?
Yes.
And in the way of repairs?
Yes.
Okay, looking at this first set of text messages, what date are these from?
This one is November 18th, 2014.
Okay, and I won't ask you to read all of it, and the jury will have these in evidence, but on this page, does it say that she needs a loan? She calls him Buddy. She says, I need a loan, Buddy, because the parts alone are going to be expensive. Imagine what it would be if she took it to another mechanic, and he said he texted Sully his CC,
That's correct.
and he said, you'll be fine, I got you.
Right.
Are his messages Charlie Adelson's messages in the blue and Catherine Mabanwa's in the green here?
It is.
Okay. And then she says, stop paying for shit with a Y on your card.
Yes.
Looking at the next set, this is on May 30th of 2015.
Yes.
He says she needs to get her timing belt changed. He says bring it to Mazda and he'll take care of it for her in this message.
Yes, he does.
And in this message, is it him offering to take care of the repairs for her?
Yes.
Looking at this one on November 18th of 2014. Whoop, sorry, I went back up instead of down. Okay. Looking at the next exchange on November 9th of 2015, she's asking her for credit card authorization. I'm sorry, she's asking him for credit card authorization. He says he'll pay it if he can put it on his credit card. What's the amount? She's telling him just put $16.30. He offers to put $16.50 there at the bottom. And then looking at the next page, she says it came out to $16.20 and says, thanks again, I'll pay you back.
That's correct.
And then when you compared the timing of these messages on November 10th, 2015, where they seem to be talking about him paying for something for her, what did you find when you looked at his Amex credit card?
I found the payment to Mazda of North Miami for $1,620.77.
Okay. And in the previous text messages we saw from several months or sometime before, he had been saying, take your car to Mazda. And this is also Mazda?
That's correct.
All right, so did it appear from the iCloud and from other records that at some point in late 2015, Catherine Magbanua got a different car?
Yes.
Okay, looking here at the message from December 14th of 2015, does Charlie Adelson say that he's going to cancel the Lexus insurance today? His mom is paying it now, but please go this SAT?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And Catherine Magbanua is then later saying, I'll take care of it, don't worry. And he says, I already paid it 5 minutes ago, just chill, you're still the best.
That's correct.
All right, did you then look at the DHSMV records to see if there was a Lexus titled to Catherine Magbanua from around this time?
I did.
All right, and what is this?
That's the certificate title for Catherine Magbanua.
All right, and does this, I'm going to try to zoom. No, I don't know if I can. All right. The jury will have this in evidence, and if you need me to bring the actual title up there for you to see it closer, you can let me know.
I think I'd see well enough.
Okay. No, it's not showing. Did she acquire the vehicle in January of 2016 per this title?
Yes.
Okay, and what type of vehicle was it?
It was a 2001 Lexus four-door sedan in black.
Who was the previous owner of the vehicle?
Harvey Adelson.
And how much did the DHSMV title indicate that it was sold to Catherine Magbanua for?
$1,700.
Is that there about halfway down the page?
Yes, on the right side.
Were you able to find any record of payment from Catherine Magbanua for this vehicle?
No, I did not.
Okay, so no check made out from Magbanua to an Adelson for that amount?
No.
Was there any matching like cash withdrawal, like a withdrawal for $1,700 from her account?
No.
Were you able to find any $1,700 deposit into any Adelson accounts for that amount?
I did not.
Was there a drop in the money that she was receiving from the Adelson Institute at that time to account for this car if it had been taken out of her salary?
No.
Can you insure a vehicle without actually transferring the title?
I don't believe so.
Okay, and we saw that they were talking about the insurance in the prior text message, right?
That's right.
Do you have to put a sale price or list it as a gift when you transfer title?
You have to either list a price or list it as a gift.
Okay. If you say that it's a sale on the transfer title and not a gift, are you taxed?
Yes.
Is there a financial benefit of listing like a really low sales price on the title transfer for a vehicle?
Yes, it lowers the amount for the registration of the car.
Who decides what number goes on a title transfer?
It's supposed to be the seller, but most often the seller just leaves it blank.
So just whoever's submitting it to the tax office then would fill it in?
That's correct.
If I sold you a car for $3,000, but we agreed to put $300 on the title transfer, would we pay less taxes on it?
Yes.
Looking at the iCloud messages between Catherine McVanois and Charlie Adelson, did it appear that Charlie Adelson provided other financial assistance or gifts or favors for Catherine McVanois?
Yes.
One second. Okay, what do we see here?
Okay, this is on March 6, 2015. It's from Charlie's Delta Sky Miles account, showing a purchase of a ticket to Santo Domingo for Catherine McVanois.
Okay, and do you see Catherine McVanois' name there under passenger name?
Yes,
Santo Domingo, is that in Dominican Republic?
it is.
And what was the price of these tickets with Spirit Airlines to Santo Domingo?
$970.74.
All right, looking at messages from the iCloud on October 19th of 2015, does Catherine McVanois say to him, hey, don't you have a hookup with plane tickets? I want to leave for Thanksgiving and take my mom. It's her 60th on November 9th. And then there at the bottom, Charlie Adelson asked, where do you want to take your mom?
Yes.
Okay, looking at this conversation that continues on the next page, she says, I want to do something for my mom. Let me see if she has days off on Thanksgiving. She thinks about renting an RV. And then about halfway down the page, Charlie Adelson volunteers to get a cruise for her and her mom.
That's correct.
And then he says, perfect. They have really nice ones that you guys can leave on a Friday, go to 2 ports, and come back on Monday morning. You won't miss any work.
That's right.
All right, and this was October of 2015.
Yes.
Looking at the continued conversation, he says, okay, so I think it would be super cool for you to go with just you and your mom from Friday to Monday on a Norwegian cruise. It leaves Friday at 4 and gets back Monday at 7. Does that work? And then they talk about where and looking at dates.
That's right.
Okay. So in that exchange, she mentions wanting to do something nice for her mom. She has the idea of maybe renting an RV, and he offers to pay for them to go on a cruise.
Yes.
On May 20th of 2015, in this exchange, does Catherine McVanois say that she has a shitload of things to pay for and needs a little help because of the kids' tuition? I hate asking. And he says, I will lend you whatever you need.
Yes, that's correct.
Shortly after this text message exchange, in the few days following, did you look at Catherine McVanois' account to see if there was any large cash deposit into her account?
Yes, I did. She received $1,400 that she put into her Chase 7242 account.
Okay. So what we have there at the bottom is literally like a still shot of her record showing the cash deposit into her account on May
Yes, sir.
26th.
That's a snippet of her bank account.
Okay, thank you. So a snippet of that $1,400 deposit.
Yes.
And in this message, she says she hates asking for the money, and he says he'll lend it to her, whatever she needs.
That's right.
One second. All right, you mentioned that you looked at Dr. Rudner's plastic surgeon's office records. Did Catherine McVanois have a breast augmentation surgery in October of 2014?
Yes, she did.
Okay, what do we see here?
That is a snippet of the payment record for Dr. Ravner.
All right, and before tax, what was the cost of the breast augmentation?
It was $4,595.
All right, how was this paid? Like, how much was it? Cash, card, check?
There was $4,400 paid in cash and $195 paid through her debit card.
All right, was that $4,400 paid in cash? Was that two separate payments? One of a $4,000 in cash payment and the other one a $400 in cash payment?
Yes, that's correct.
What percentage of her breast augmentation was paid in cash?
96%.
Were there any corresponding withdrawals from any of Catherine McVanois' accounts that would reach $4,400 or even $4,000
No,
during that time? Did you add up all her cash withdrawals from that whole year, like January 2014 all the way to October 2014?
I did.
Okay, and did they total only about a little over $2,000 during that time?
That's correct.
Okay, so not enough to pay for the $4,400 in cash.
Not pulling it from a bank account.
All right, now I want to focus on Catherine McVanois' bank records.
Okay.
Based on the records that you reviewed, were you able to ascertain where she may have worked or what businesses she received income from those bank records?
Yes.
Okay, what do we see here?
What you see is a summary of how much money she got, and I could show for each year from where she was employed.
Okay, can you tell us which businesses she received income from and when,
Sure. You want me to list all the dates?
if you would?
Okay. Millennium Therapy Services from January 7th, 2013 to July 5th, 2013. Encore Nationwide, January 18th, 2013 to December 31st, 2013. CEO Next, LLC, April 1st, 2013 to April 30th, 2013. Sophie Dental Care, May 8th, 2013, July 31st, 2014. The Adelson Institute, October 7th, 2014 to May 17th, 2016. Dr. Obed, July 29th, 2015 and to March 23rd, 2016. Dr. Lopez, July 29th, 2016, October 14th, 2016.
Okay, did you review employment well, let me ask you, could Quintana Lopez, could she have been a realtor at that time?
She may have been.
Okay. Did you look at the actual employment records, though, from Jerome, for many of these, including Jerome Obed?
Jerome's yes.
Okay, was Jerome Obed a dermatologist's office?
Yes.
Okay, and was there a relationship between Charlie Adelson and Jerome Obed?
Yes, I believe they were good friends.
Okay. Were there messages in the iCloud indicating that Obed was Charlie Adelson's roommate at the time?
There was.
Okay. I want to ask you about some of this income. What do we have here?
This is a chart that shows the money that was deposited into her account by her employer in the blocks vertically, and then, horizontally, and then the months on the bottom from January 23rd to December 16th.
Looking at the dates, the date that we see here from the time that the employment begins, was that the date that the check was written or the date that the check was posted to her account?
It was the date it hit her account.
Okay, so this reflects income from her account from those businesses from the date of the first check, the day it was posted, to the date of the last post.
That's correct.
All right. Now, looking at this graph and the date of the murder in this graph, which is reflected by the first red line, July 18th, 2014, was she employed at the time of the murder or the 5-6 weeks afterwards?
No.
We see that she received income from the Adelson Institute from October 8th of 2014 through a check dated May 17th, 2016. Was there evidence from Charlie Adelson's iCloud that referenced how or why she began receiving income from the Adelson Institute?
There was.
All right. Looking at this message, is this message from June 24th of 2014?
It is.
So this would have been from 3 or 4 weeks before the murder of Dan Markel?
That's correct.
Okay. And in this message, she says, I'm going to need help on the employment info. I have to send to DCF for my kids' insurance. I'm sorry, INS. Also, I have to end up moving late. Also, if I have to end up moving later on, I need to show I'm working for you or else I won't be able to get an apartment. And he says, no prob.
That's correct.
And then about 2 months after the murder of Dan Markel, she begins receiving checks from the Adelson Institute.
She does.
In order to rent an apartment, do people sometimes have to show proof of employment so that the apartment complex will rent to them and know that they will reliably pay their rent?
That's correct.
In order to get public assistance health insurance, do people need to show that they are employed but don't make above a certain amount of money?
That's right.
Did you review checks from Adelson Institute that were deposited into Catherine McBanois' account?
I did.
And in what accounts did you find those checks?
They mostly went into her checking accounts, but occasionally she'd put some in her savings.
Okay, and they were coming out of Adelson Institute's Regions account?
That's right.
How many checks total were there from the Adelson Institute to Catherine McBanois?
There was 44 checks.
And what do we see here?
This is a list of the checks that were paid to her, and it shows the date they were posted to her account, the date that was written on the check number, the payment, and the memo field.
So looking at what's been entered into evidence as State 77, a copy of each check back in front is State 77?
Yes.
All 44 checks?
Yes.
Okay, but just for ease of presenting and explaining these checks to the jury, you're relying on this summary here, this kind of Excel table summarizing the checks,
Yes.
right? Were all of the checks deposited by Catherine McBanois?
They were.
Who were all the checks signed by?
Donna Adelson.
When was the first check issued from Adelson Institute to Catherine McBanois?
The date on the checks was September 17th, 2014.
Okay, so that was just short of 1 day. I'm sorry, that was about 2 months from the murder of Dan Markel.
That's correct.
And how often did Catherine McBanois receive checks from Adelson Institute after that?
She received 2 checks a month.
Until May of 2016?
That's correct.
All right, if you could walk us through, here are just an example of 3 different checks. There's a pointer there in front of you. You might have to make sure it's on up on the ledge. There you go.
Okay.
What can you tell us about, well, first of all, I asked you who signed all the checks, and you said Donna Adelson. Can you show us the signature on these checks?
Right here.
Okay,
This
so
is
Donna Sue Adelson.
Yeah, that's the signature line on all of them.
And what can you tell us about the memo lines of these checks?
The memo line reflects the date she would have worked on each of these checks.
Okay, so they reflect kind of like the pay period for that amount?
Yes.
Okay. I want to go back to our summary, or let me ask you first, the memo lines, the date ranges, were these usually about every 8 to 10 days,
Yes.
the range? Go back to our summary. What amount were all of the checks for?
All except for the first one were $407.58.
So all of them except the first one were for the exact same amount?
Correct.
And is that what the column furthest to the right indicates for each one?
Yes.
Were some of these checks advance pay?
They were.
What does that mean?
That she was actually paid before the end of the time frame of the payment.
So she would get the paycheck before the work period was complete,
Yes,
or post it before the work period was complete?
that's correct.
And on the right, does that indicate which ones were advance pay?
That's right.
Were some of these checks sequential?
They were.
And what does that mean?
That they were paid by the same set of checks in a book. So they're 1, 2, and 3 sequential.
Okay. Now, were the ones that were sequential, were they at or around the same date?
No, they reflected different dates.
All right, so when you say they're sequential, the number here at the top of the check,
That's right.
that would mean that the next check she received, even though for 2 weeks later in a different pay period, would be the next number in sequence.
That's right.
How many sequential checks did Catherine McBanuel receive in a row?
She had 18.
All right, looking at this column furthest to the right, our checks, it appears to be 11, 12, and 13. Were they all sequential?
Yes,
Okay, so that would be 3 in a row.
yes,
And then looking at checks, or I'm sorry, the number 28 through 33, those checks, that was 6 sequential checks in a row.
yes,
And then looking at 36 through, I think it's 3 up, so 36 through 41, was that another 6 sequential checks in a row?
it was.
And then the final 3, I believe that is, were those sequential checks all in a row?
They were.
You mentioned earlier that at the time of, or we saw that she received a breast augmentation in October of 2014. We saw, was Catherine McBanuel receiving checks at that time from the Adelson Institute?
She was.
Was there any disruption in her paychecks from October of 2014 when she received a breast augmentation, like time where she would have been out of work or recuperating or anything like that?
No,
Was the amount the same as it was on the other checks except for the first one?
it was.
What about the time for the trip to Santo Domingo that departed on March 22nd of 2014? Did she have any less of a paycheck around that time that might reflect time that she was off or didn't work when she was in another country that week?
No,
So no decrease of any money she received?
none.
What other records did you review with respect to her employment at Adelson Institute?
The only thing I received from the subpoena was a QuickBooks summary.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do we see here?
That is a printout from the QuickBook report for the Adelson Institute.
So this is what y'all received from the Adelson Institute when y'all subpoenaed her employment, or when her employment records were subpoenaed.
That's correct.
What is a QuickBook printout?
It's an accounting software program a lot of businesses use for payroll and keeping track of expenses.
What time period did the printout cover?
This printout covers September 18th, 2014 to March 31st, 2016.
What date range did the law enforcement subpoena request?
The request was for any and all records for her employment.
Okay. Were all of the checks that Catherine McManua received reflected on this QuickBooks?
No,
You said the last check on the QuickBooks was from March 31st of 2016?
that's correct.
Okay, when looking at her account, how many additional checks were there after that time that she was paid by Adelson Institute?
She received 3 additional checks.
And when was the last check that she posted according to her bank account?
I believe it was May 17th, 2016?
Okay, but in May of 2016?
Yes.
So if Garcia was arrested on May 25th of 2016, and the last check to Catherine McManua per the actual checks was written on May 12th of 2016, they stopped making payments to her after his arrest on May 25th.
It's possible same time frame.
What was the total net amount received by Catherine McManua from Adelson Institute from September of 2014 to May of 2016?
It was $17,729, I believe.
$17,729?
I believe so. Look it up.
And did Adelson Institute provide any type of employment application, timesheet, W-2, tax filing, performance valuation, job description, anything like that for Catherine McManua?
No, they did not.
Just the QuickBooks?
Just the QuickBooks.
I want to ask you about the timing of Catherine McManua's final Adelson Institute checks. Are you familiar with what we call the bump in this case?
I am.
And that was on April 19th of 2016. Looking at the final 3 checks to Catherine McManua that were sequential and not in QuickBooks, was there evidence of a check that was later in sequence that was actually posted in a party's bank account before the bump on April 19th of 2016?
Yes, it's the second bar. Harvey deposited a check of $20.83 on April 11th, 2016.
Okay, and that check was posted to his account, but it was after Catherine McManua's last 3 sequential checks in sequence.
That's right.
And that would have been before the bump.
Correct.
All right, did you look at Catherine McManua's bank account to determine what her income sources for the year before the murder, the year of the murder, and the 2 years following the murder, what those were?
Yes.
Okay, I want you to walk us through each one of those.
Okay.
Looking at 2013, how much cash did she deposit that year into her accounts?
$13,035.
What percentage of her total income that year then was cash?
23%.
Was cash deposits her highest source of income into her account that year?
Yes.
Looking at 2014, how much cash did she deposit into her account that year?
$46,820.
What percentage of her total income was that cash that year into her account?
64%.
And was cash deposits her highest source of income that year?
Yes.
What does the yellow reflect here? We talked about the red, the cash deposits. What does the yellow reflect?
It's for the checks that she received that year for the Adelson Institute.
And the checks that we saw didn't begin being posted to her account from Adelson Institute until October of 2014 that year?
That's correct.
So this would just be about 2 months' worth of checks?
Yes.
So when combined with the Adelson Institute income, cash and Adelson Institute money was about 68% of her total income that year into her account?
Yes, that's correct.
Oops. All right, looking at 2015, how much cash was deposited into her account that year?
$26,523.77.
And what percentage of her total income was cash deposits?
51%.
Was cash deposits her highest source of income that year?
Yes.
And the yellow, does that again represent Adelson Institute in this graph?
It does.
Okay. And what does the purple represent?
That was paychecks received from Dr. Obed.
Okay. And that was Charlie Adelson's friend and roommate.
Correct.
So looking at her cash and Adelson sources, when combined all of that together, it's about 81% of her income is cash, Adelson Institute, and Jerome Obed paychecks.
Correct.
Finally, looking 2 years after the murder in 2016, does she deposit significantly less cash than the last 2 years that year?
Yes.
How much cash does she deposit that year?
$11,921.33.
And that was about 20% of her total income?
That's correct.
We saw where the last check deposited into her, that posted to her account from the Adelson Institute was in May of that year. So in those 5 months, the $4,890 amount, that was the amount that she received from Adelson Institute just for 2016.
Yes.
And then from Jerome Obed, this reflects the amount deposited into her account from him as well, or from
Yes.
his business?
That's correct.
All right. What do we see here?
This is a different way of reflecting the cash deposits into her account by year. It's a bar chart.
Okay. So at the bottom, we see the amount of the percentage of cash deposited into her account compared to the total amount of income she received.
Correct.
All right. And at the top is the actual number as far as cash deposits into her account in a bar graph that reflects that.
Right.
Which year had the most cash deposits? Looking at 2013 in the first column to 2016 in the last column.
2014.
And 2014 was the year of Dan Markel's murder.
It was.
In 2014, did she have about 3 times as much cash deposited into her account as the year before?
Yes.
And about twice as much as the year after in 2015?
Yes.
And looking at the graphs below, in 2014 and 2015, the percentage of her total amount of income into her account that was cash was 64 and 51%, compared to the years before and 2 years after the murder being only 23 and 20%.
That's correct.
All right, what do we see here?
This is a chart. The bar chart above shows the amounts for the cash deposits, the Adelson Institute, and Dr. Obed. And the bottom reflects the percentage of those combined.
So looking at cash and income from Adelson-related sources, Adelson Institute and Jerome Obed, that was 67 and 81% of her total income in 2014 and 2015, the year after the murder, compared to 2013 and 2016 at 23 and 35%.
That's correct.
You said that 2014 was the year that Catherine Benoit had the most amount of cash deposited into her account. What does this graph represent?
So this graph shows cash deposits by month, and each month has a point on the scale on the left, and it's connected by a line so you can see the flow. So it's a line chart.
So in this year with the most amount of cash deposits, 2014, which month of that year was the most cash deposited into her account?
It was August of 2014.
Okay, and is that reflected by the yellow circle with a 1 in it?
It is.
And how much cash was deposited into her account that month?
I believe it was $13,200.
And that was the month following the murder of Dan Markel?
It was.
How does that amount of cash deposited in August compare to the other months in 2014?
It was the highest of all the months.
What was the second and third highest cash deposit months in 2014?
The second highest was October of 2014.
Okay, and what about the third?
July of 2014, sorry.
Okay, so the third highest was the same month as the murder of Dan Markel,
Yes,
and the second highest was the same month that the checks from Adelson Institute began being posted to her account, and she also received a breast augmentation.
yes.
What do we see here?
This is another graph showing the cash deposits by month, but this is a bar chart. So the higher the bar, the more cash she would have received.
So looking at this 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, this 4-year span, which month in that 4-year span has the most amount of cash deposits?
It's the August of 2014.
And what about the second highest?
The second highest was October 2014,
And the third?
July 2014.
So even looking at that 4-year span now and not just the year 2014, those are still the 3 highest from all 4 years into her account, were those 3 dates we talked about before.
Yes, that's correct.
What do we see here?
This is an overlay of 2 sets of data. The red line shows her cash deposits by month, and the bars are showing her employment.
Okay, and what does the first black line represent?
The murder of,
So that was July 18th, 2014, that represents the date of the murder.
yes,
And then the second black line that says bump on top represents the date of the bump,
yes,
April 19th, 2016.
yes.
All right, looking at all of the red lines, before the date of the murder, what was the amount of cash deposits in those 12 months before the murder? How much cash did she deposit into her account?
1 year before, she deposited $15,600.
And that would be like from July 2013 to June of 2014?
That's correct.
All right, looking at then in the 12 months following the murder, so from the red line for about the next 12 months, how much cash was deposited into her account?
She deposited $44,963.
So about 3 times as much as the entire 12 months before the murder?
Yes.
All right. And then right next to the line that indicates the murder, we see a giant red spike. What does that represent?
That represents that spike of cash that she put in between July and August.
And looking at now the bar graph around that murder line and the cash spike, is there any record of her being employed during that August cash spike where $13,200 were deposited into her account?
No,
So no bar during that part.
that's right.
What about from the day after Dan Markel was murdered, so July 19th, to just the end of August, those 6 weeks, how much was deposited into her account?
$17,300.
And then by the end of the next month, by the end of September, she's on the payroll at Adelson Institute?
Yes, that's correct.
You told us earlier that you analyzed the Adelson Institute records. What was the annual income for Adelson Institute, approximately?
Based on the records I have, about $2 million.
About $2 million a year?
Yes.
And was that profit?
No, I didn't do a profit calculation.
Okay. About how much money did Charlie Adelson make per year?
It varied between 3 and 3.5 million according to his bank records that I had.
And that was for each year between 2013 and 2016?
For each year, yes.
Okay. Did he make money from not only working as a dentist at the Adelson Institute, but also as a traveling periodontist?
Yes, he also had some rental income and some land sales, real estate sales.
Okay. You mentioned earlier that you looked at the Adelson family bank accounts and investment accounts as well. Can you give us an idea of the total amount of money in these investment accounts in the years surrounding this investigation?
Yes, it's about 4.1 million to 5.8 million at the end.
Okay. And you mentioned earlier that you also looked at the individual family members' checking and savings account, their business accounts as well. Can you tell us what those amounts were
Yes,
in June and July of 2014?
Yes, when you put all of the 32 accounts together, there was 8.1 million in June of 2014, and 8.1 million in July of 2014.
And that's just money in the bank, right? I mean, that doesn't include real estate, cars, other assets,
That's correct.
or cash of theirs that they never put in the bank in the first place.
Correct.
Now, based on your review of the Adelson Institute, did their business give cash discounts for services?
Yes.
Were there records in Charlie Adelson's iCloud where he discusses providing cash discounts for services?
There was.
Okay. And I won't make you go through every single one of these, but are these messages where they talk about cash discounts for clients, the cash price for different services? They try to give people an incentive to use cash as opposed to a card.
It seems so, yes.
And were there messages in Charlie Adelson's iCloud where he and Adelson family members are discussing having large amounts of cash?
There was.
Okay. And did they discuss how they keep it, that they keep it in piles or keep it in a safe?
Yes, they kept it in a safe and some reference to piles of cash.
Okay, I'm going to show you two different sets of messages. In this one, Harvey Adelson says to Charlie Adelson that he says, "Charlie, I spoke to Mom. We will take the $26,000 in cash." Then, sometime later, he seems to change his mind and says, "There's no tax advantage for the $26,000 gift. I have too much cash, and would rather you transfer it from your personal account." So here they're talking about one gifting the other $26,000 in cash but then decide against it because they already have too much cash.
That's correct.
And then in this one, does this appear to be Donna Adelson saying, "Good morning, Charlie. I need to take $25,000 from your office checkbook, put it into Dad's office checkbook in order to break even this month. Can we do that? Do you have enough money in your office account to write that check? If you do, then Dad will move $25,000 in cash in the safe into your pile. Please let me know so we can take care of this today." And he says, "No problem."
That's correct.
So they're talking about moving large amounts of cash from one person's pile to another person's pile in a safe.
Seems so, yes.
And this safe would be at a place where Donna Adelson and Harvey Adelson are in control of it.
I believe so.
Just a second. That's all I have. Thank you.
Try not to break it.
Mostly watch out for those cords because we don't want to have any sound malfunction.
Good afternoon, Ms. Hall.
Good morning. Good afternoon.
You recall that on page 2 of this exhibit, you were asked about Luis Rivera's financials,
Yes.
and you recall that you were asked whether you saw any spike in cash deposits over time.
For Luis Rivera?
You
No.
recall whether you were asked that question?
No spike of cash.
So you have a spike at the time of the murder. He's not withdrawing cash, correct?
Correct.
But over time, his habits go back to how they were before, right?
Yes.
So unlike Katie Magbanawa, you don't see the cash keeping on going up, right?
Right.
With Luis Rivera, you see essentially a spike in cash and then nothing.
Well, the spike was from his direct deposits, but you're essentially correct. He had cash. Yeah,
Before, he would take the money out because he had no money.
right.
But after the murder, he doesn't take any money out for a while.
That's right.
But then he runs out of money again.
It seems so.
So he starts taking it out again.
Right.
Different than Katie Magbanawa, right?
Oh, yes.
Actually, the complete opposite.
Yes, he didn't put money in accounts apparently unless he had to.
With Katie Magbanawa, the money just keeps going forward.
Yes.
Now, Ms. Dugan showed you some text messages. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And she showed you text messages regarding some car repairs.
That's right.
And on those text messages, Charlie Adelson has no problem whatsoever creating a paper trail and putting those car repairs on his credit card, right?
Correct.
And in fact, you were able to go to his credit card and see it, right?
That's right.
Katie Magbanawa tells him not to put it on the credit card, right?
That's right.
And he doesn't listen to her.
No.
You were asked about a Lexus,
Yes.
right? A Lexus with, I think, if my eyes don't deceive me, had 160,000 miles.
I'll take your word for it.
You want me to show you it?
You know, sure.
May I approach?
You may.
Oh, yeah, it's very small. Yeah, right.
It had 160,000 miles.
That's correct.
And you couldn't find any payment from Catherine Magbanowa for that car, right?
I could not.
Are you aware that Catherine Magbanowa came in here today and insisted that she paid for that car?
No, I didn't know she testified.
But you saw no evidence of any payment, right?
No,
From your forensic analysis, no payment was ever given, correct?
not through the bank records.
Now, you also talked a little bit about the Adelson Institute checks,
That's correct.
and you talked about how those checks or the employment began sometime around October of 2014,
Yes,
and that was approximately 2 months after Professor Markel's murder.
yes,
And the checks, they were after taxes, right?
no, there was taxes taken out of it.
That's what I mean.
Yes,
So the numbers we see here of $407.58, which every check is except the first one,
right.
that's after the taxes were taken out.
That's correct. It's a net amount.
And the checks were for about 2 times every month, right?
Yes,
And so essentially, the checks were for around $1,000 a month.
yes,
And I think you testified that it looked like the checks were given at the same time, a bunch of them.
they could have based on being sequential.
And that would maybe be because the person giving them didn't want to see the other person that often, right? That'd be one reason.
It could be a reason, yes.
Let's talk a little bit about the cash increases in her account. Now, you saw a spike in the cash increase. The biggest spike was the month after Professor Markel's murder, correct?
Yes,
But the cash just kept on coming, right?
yes,
And when you do the math, by the year, it seems that she was getting paid in cash around $2,000 a month, right?
it varied, but yeah,
For the most part, it's right around $2,000 a month, right?
basically, yes.
I mean, to a T, right? I mean, let's look at it. I think you have it by year here. If you look at 2015, for example, you have her cash deposits at $26,000 and change, right?
Right,
12 months, $2,000 a month, that's $24,000, right?
sure.
And in 2016, you have her cash deposits at around just under $12,000 a month, right?
That's
I mean,
correct.
sorry, just under $12,000 for the year, right?
Yes, correct.
And you have those deposits stopping in May.
That's right.
I'm not great at math, but that's
Yes.
about 6 months, right?
Right.
Now, if Ms. Magbanowa had testified today that she never got paid any cash after the first month, according to your forensic analysis, that would be a complete lie, right?
Yes, it would.
Let me ask you, when you do these graphs, the word murder isn't scientific, right?
Correct.
It could easily say extortion as well, correct?
I suppose, yes.
You talk about these piles and it possibly being a same safe. You don't know if all the money was in the same safe, right?
No, that's just, they were moved from one pile to another.
Couldn't that be not a real pile?
What do you mean?
Well, parents, when they're leaving things to their kids, if someone lends them money, might they make a notation so that if they die before paying them back, they would put in their pile that they lent money to them?
I suppose, but it does reference pile in a safe.
Did you ever see any safe that had piles of cash with different Adelson names on it?
No.
Have you ever heard of people assigning certain items to their children when they die?
Sure.
May I have one moment, Your Honor? So we talked about that $2,000 of cash every month, remember?
Yeah.
And if you add that $2,000 of cash every month with the $1,000 of Adelson checks, what would that equal?
3,000.
Would it surprise you that Catherine Magbanowa was paid $3,000 every month by Charlie Adelson?
Would it surprise me? No.
In fact, it would be consistent with your forensic analysis, right?
Yes.
I have no further questions.
Redirect examination.
Defense counsel asked you about Rivera not having a cash bag. Did Rivera have a habit of depositing cash into his accounts?
No, he did not.
No, thank you. Did you look at the cash deposits for Catherine Magbanowa every day for 2013, 2014, 2015, and 2016?
Yes.
And are all of those spreadsheets also in here in addition to everything that we saw on the PowerPoint?
Yes.
And does she have a kind of what it seemed the defense was indicating, like a $2,000 payment in cash at one time every month?
No, they were always broken up. I think the highest deposit she ever put in was 2,000, though.
Okay, so in this report are each cash deposit she makes by day for every year, and are they all different amounts?
Yes.
Some as low as $43,
Yes.
some as high as $1,000.
Yes.
Okay, and so it wasn't a situation where she was coming to the bank every month, one day a month, and putting in $2,000.
No.
Okay, that was the accumulation of all of the money throughout those years that we saw.
That's right.
Okay. if she was being just given a $2,000 payment in cash every month, would it make sense to deposit that, or would it make sense to go back to the bank 20 different times that month with $40 and $50 and $600 and $700? What would make more sense, it would seem?
Well, I think she was trying to hide the fact she was putting in cash and flying under the radar, so she was breaking it up. So I don't
Okay.
know what she had to start with, but I just can only show what she was putting in the account in small increments to several accounts, sometimes the same day.
Okay, and looking at the cash that she was putting in, could this have been cash that she was, well, let me ask you this. Okay, when you looked at the messages from the iCloud, a couple of which we saw, was she asking Charlie Adelson for different favors?
Yes,
Was she asking Charlie Adelson at time for cash or for loans?
yes,
Okay, were these friendly exchanges between the two?
yeah.
Was she ever demanding anything from him?
No, I don't think so.
And were many times he was he offering to do favors for her or different nice things for her, or
Yes,
provide
that's-
her with things?
They seem to have a good relationship.
Defense asked if a possible explanation for the sequential checks could be that she was getting paid a bunch at a time by someone who didn't want to see her very often. Would another possible explanation be that she wasn't actually working there and someone was just handing her a bunch of checks at a time when they did see her?
I suppose that's possible too.
That's all I have.
Is Ms. Hall going to be recalled by either party?
I'd like her to remain under the rule, but I don't believe so, Judge.
You may step down, ma'am.